Next, I'd like to bring on Gary Rush and David Griffith from Made to Manage. From Made to Manage, they're going to talk about their hybrid hosted model that they've developed with the .NET development platform. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Chris. It's certainly a great privilege for David and I to be able to show some of the things that we've been working on with .NET. We're with Made to Manage, a leader in providing comprehensive enterprise software solutions for mid-market manufacturing organizations. For us, that means manufacturers between $5 and $200 million in annual revenues, and our sweet spot's really $10 to $100 million manufacturers. What we basically offer is a comprehensive enterprise solution for these manufacturers that has at its core a comprehensive enterprise resource planning system. Into that we plug supply chain management, customer relationship management, business intelligence, and then we have a complete set of outward-facing applications, M2M VIP, which represents an enterprise portal. That's for the customers of these manufacturers that might want to interact with that manufacturer in a browser. We also have Made to Manage Link, which is really our enterprise integration solution. But what we're really here to talk about is how we've been able to use .NET to really enhance our offering. And the first thing that I want to talk about is we've been able to create what is essentially, we think, a unique hybrid hosted model that's powered by web services for delivering a complete set of e-commerce functionality. What we basically do, since many of these manufacturers don't have large IS staffs, is we actually host their e-commerce data center for them. And then we connect to the back office that is running inside their four walls, and we use web services as the glue. So what we basically use is web service technology, VB.NET. We use downloadable assemblies and ASP.NET to get the job done. We're going to talk about this and demo it here in a minute. We also use BizTalk Server, which we host in that data center, and use web services again as the glue to connect that BizTalk server that we're hosting with the manufacturer's data that lives inside their four walls. Third, we've been able to use the Office XP web components to provide a new set of business intelligence functionality for these manufacturers. Again, we use ASP.NET to host those Office XP web components, and we've been able to use that to expand the reach of business intelligence. And then finally, we've been able to use some of the things that are in the mobile internet toolkit to provide mobile device support for the shop floor. Since for a manufacturer it's all about getting more widgets out the door faster and sooner and cheaper, anything we can do to enhance that effort is really of great value to them. So let's take a look at the architecture. What we basically do, you can see on the right, is the manufacturer inside their four walls hosts the business system. And then we put a small piece of code called the Made to Manage Gateway out at their site. We would know that piece of code as a web service provider. Then in our data center, which is actually located here in Chicago at Exodus, we actually host a variety of servers for them. We host the Commerce and Collaboration server, BizTalk server, Analysis server, or OLAP, Microsoft's OLAP server. And whenever we get a request from a constituent, a user in a browser, for example, comes in over HTML, we formulate a web service request that goes out to the manufacturer's site, gets the requisite information, brings it back in a SOAP packet, and then we render it out to the user's browser. So there's really four hops that are going on in this particular model with each of the requests that a customer or a supplier is making. So with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to David Griffith, who's going to show us this in a production environment.
Thanks, Gary. M2MVIP.com is a subscription-based service that we provide to our manufacturers. The site enables them to engage in collaborative commerce with their customers and suppliers. As Gary had mentioned, we host this website at a data center located here in Chicago. And for our demo purposes, I'll be using World-Class Manufacturing, which is a Made-to-Manage ERP instance we have set up on a server back at our main office in Indianapolis. So we'll get into some of the functionality. Take a look at an invoice inquiry application. Provide many search options to look up invoices. We also provide a quick link to view the most recently generated invoices. And as those results come back, what's happening, if they come back, here we go. What's happening is the web server is making a SOAP RPC call out to a web service that resides at the manufacturer's facility. That web service is going to query the ERP SQL Server database and then return the results. The web m10vip.com can then take those results and render the proper HTML and send it out to the browser. To help us facilitate this, we use a new technology in the .NET framework called XML serialization. Essentially, we've created VB classes that represent our business documents. We then can serialize an object instance into an XML document, or the reverse, reconstitute an object state from an XML document. This has helped us out tremendously. It reduces the number of lines of code we have to write by not having to manually use the XML DOM or XPath queries to generate those XML documents. Let's flip over to another application and look at our order status. I'm going to select on a particular sales order, which has multiple line items. One of them has multiple releases. And one of those releases has shipped. Now, as reviewing the shipping information here, notice that this is sent via UPS, and there's a UPS tracking number associated. So as I select that hyperlink, we actually do a real-time call out to the UPS online site to retrieve the latest status information. We're able to.
Dave, let me interject something just so I make sure I understand this. I mean,
Sure.
you guys are hosting the site back in Indianapolis, and then the services are running at a hosted data center.
Well, the hosted site, M10VIP, is at our data center, which is actually here in Chicago.
Okay.
Now we're hitting the manufacturer, which is actually on a server back at our main office in Indianapolis.
Okay. And web services ties all that together.
Correct.
Fantastic. And you've got another web service that's actually doing the tracking here.
Yeah, we're actually calling out to UPS Online's website to retrieve the latest
Okay.
status information.
And all this is built on top of .NET.
Yes, it is.
Okay, because that's kind of interesting, because I know when I go and I speak to folks and talk about web services, oftentimes I get the reaction that, you know, web services is something that's coming down the pike, and this is something that we'll do later, and we'll wait till it's, you know, fully baked. But you guys have how many customers running off this platform today?
Well, I think that's what's so exciting. We've actually got 80 customers that are up and running live under this model today. We went live with the Go Live license back in August, and it's really been a great success for us. I'll actually show some of the business results here in a little bit.
So you guys have been running since August off of beta code?
Since August,
with this
yes.
system with live customers?
Yes.
Wow, fantastic. Sorry, thanks.
It's okay. Let's take a look at another app here. We'll look at our product catalog. And I'm going to perform a search, and I'm going to look for the word blue. And what this does is it actually performs a search against the part number or the description, looks for the word blue anywhere. Getting results back. I'm going to pull up the first item here. This is a CF061B, also known as Mayonnator 2002.
Ah, nice.
We hope you like our choice.
Yeah, that's nice, and it's only $93.95. The Mayonnator, that's 2000.
It's a good price.
Yeah, get them while they're hot.
So as we're seeing the product information here, we can now add this to an order or a quote or check the available inventory. We can also assign related documents to this product. This is important with manufacturers that might have tolerance specifications or CAD drawings that they want to put in the order entry process. And I'm going to switch over to some of the code behind the site. And what we're viewing here is our M2M gateway application. And it contains a web service that we require our manufacturers to install. Now what we do is, like Gary mentioned that we have a downloadable assemblies. We've consolidated all of our integration logic and placed that in a repository on the m10vip.com website. So the sole purpose of this web server then is to pull down the requested or the appropriate assembly and then invoke the requested method. Now we've got in here a web method which takes a couple of parameters and also returns a value. All three are done in XML formatting. Another thing to mention here is we've taken advantage of structured error handling. We've segmented our logic into using these try-catch statements, and we're able to then capture and throw exceptions. This enables us really to identify and locate where we have problems within our code.
Do you guys miss on air go too much? Do you miss that at all?
Not at all.
Okay.
I love the exceptions.
Fantastic.
I love not getting the exceptions.
Well, yeah. Or being able to handle them, either of those is fine.
Also take advantage of an attribute revealed here on our web method. This is defining the SOAP header. In our SOAP header, we actually specify the location, the URL location of our assembly, in addition to the class namespaces and the method we're going to invoke.
Fantastic. Great, using more web method attributes or more of the attributes for web services in order to control exactly how your site executes.
Yeah, it's real
Great.
beneficial. I
Thanks.
think Gary wants to come up and talk a little bit about our performance of our code base.
Get rid of the mayonnator here. Okay, when we originally wrote this application, we had written it in straight ASP code, and we used the SOAP SDK in order to do the connection. So we rewrote it for ASP.NET, and we got some pretty dramatic results. Placing a sales order dropped from 27 seconds down to 1.8, order status from 2 seconds down to 0.62, count status 2.38 down to 0.31, an overall performance boost of 8.6 times faster. And you really should have heard the cheering in Indianapolis as we began to see these kinds of performance results take shape. The last thing that I'm going to show here today is something that we call the Mobile Job Center. I mentioned earlier that anything you can do for a manufacturer to help them get more widgets out the door faster and cheaper is a pretty good thing. They use production supervisors and shop floor managers to try to keep the flow moving through that shop floor. So what we've done is create a wireless mobile device-based application that they can use to display the information that they need wherever they are on the shop floor. We use ASP.NET, C#, the Mobile Internet Toolkit, Pocket PC, and 802.11b. So let's take a look. What I'm actually running here is the Pocket PC emulator that comes in the Pocket PC SDK. So I might want to look up an order by customer. If I don't know the customer ID, I can drill in and actually find one. I can see a list of the jobs that are underway for that customer right now, along with the parts that those jobs are creating. If I want additional detail, I can drill into the detailed job information. I might want to see what the materials are that are required in order to construct that job and make sure that I have adequate on-hand quantities of all of the elements. Or I might also want to take a look at the production status, for example, to see what the steps are in the manufacture of this item and what % complete I am in each of those steps, so that I can provide the information necessary back to that customer or help expedite the job through the shop floor.
Fantastic. Using the same IDE, the same .NET language that you guys have chosen, and the same development paradigm that you would use in order to create, full-featured web pages for the Pocket PC for cell phones.
Exactly. It's the same skill set, and once our developers were up to speed, using ASP.NET to build for mobile devices was really a very straightforward matter. And for us, we like the server-based model because we wanted the information out on the shop floor to be live and up to date at all times. So the final slide that I'm going to talk about is the business results that we've observed from doing this. As I mentioned earlier, we've got 80 customers that are up and running under this hybrid hosted subscription model. It's much more acceptable to them than sort of a pure hosted model because they keep their data inside the four walls, and that's pretty important to these guys. We've actually been able to increase our subscription revenue. In year 2000, it was 31%, and we were able to move that up to 46% of our revenues were subscription-based in the year 2001. So that added a lot of predictability to our revenue model, and Wall Street has rewarded us accordingly. And finally, we're able to do all that with less maintenance because we can make use of technologies like downloadable assemblies. So for us, it's been a great experience, and we're certainly happy to be able to share it with you here today.
Fantastic. Can I get a huge round of applause for Made to Manage? Thanks, guys.